Willow Creek, Iowa. A town so small you could recognize the make and model of every car that passed you on Main Street. In this quiet corner of the Midwest, Rachel Whitmore, 32, was more than a teacher. She was the woman who stayed late to tutor, baked cookies for PTA meetings, and remembered every student's birthday. She had an easy smile and a way of making people feel seen. That's why, when she didn't show up to her third-grade classroom on the morning of September 14, 2018, the entire town felt the absence like a sudden power outage. By noon, her colleagues were frantic. Rachel wasn't answering calls or texts. Her Civic was nowhere to be found. It was as if she'd been erased from Willow Creek in broad daylight. The first theory, a random act of violence. People whispered about strangers passing through, a possible kidnapping. Parents walked their kids to school in pairs. Shops kept their doors locked even during business hours. Detectives canvassed every gas station and street camera along Rachel's usual commute. One blurry frame showed her blue Honda Civic turning onto County Road 9, a detour she never took. Her husband, Evan, said he'd been home, sleeping off a cold, but neighbors hadn't seen his car in the driveway that morning. He was on the radar, but not the only one. Phone records painted a new picture, late-night calls and dozens of texts between Rachel and Daniel Cross, a married father of one of her students. Daniel claimed they were just friends, yet he had also called in sick the same day she vanished. 3 days later, Rachel's Civic was found near an abandoned grain silo, her purse and keys still inside. No struggle, no blood. Then came the break. A hunter's trail camera captured a man carrying something heavy into the woods, limping slightly. Detectives knew Daniel had an old high school sports injury. When confronted, Daniel's story cracked. He admitted they'd met that morning to talk. She wanted him to leave his wife. He said it was over. A shove. The fall. A fatal head injury on a rock. In panic, he hid her body in a shallow creek bed. Rachel's body was found within hours of his confession. The town grieved not only the loss of a beloved teacher but also the shattering of its trust. Her killer wasn't a faceless predator. He was a familiar voice in the school hallways, a man invited into their homes. Daniel Cross was convicted of second-degree murder, sentenced to 35 years. Evan, her estranged husband, never spoke publicly but attended every day of the trial. Today, the school bell still rings in Willow Creek, but for those who knew Rachel Whitmore, the sound carries an echo, a reminder that even in the safest places, darkness can live next door.